Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. In today's video, we will be replying to a private email that I got, some questions, philosophical questions, and I didn't have time to reply privately to this devotee, so I will be replying publicly without mentioning his name for the benefit of all of us. We can discuss this topic. It's an important topic. So here it is. I'm going to be reading the email now. Please excuse for the beard. I didn't have time to shave. Okay. So, Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I recently watched your video in response to Dhananjaya Das, Bhakta David. You showed one quote from Srila Prabhupada, which is the following. Okay, before we read that quote, I had made a video some time ago, which was exposing Bhakta David, who seemed to be named Dhananjaya Das. I guess he took initiation. So, because the mood of Dhananjaya Das or Bhakta David is very much fault-finding. I can show you a bit that video so you can see. This is my YouTube channel. So let me see. Okay, here it is. Message to Bhakta David and Birds of a Feather. So in that video I was a bit angered because I had seen this post of Bhakta David. He's got this website and he finds a lot of fault, and he found fault with His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu. So I did not tolerate that, and so I made this video to speak about such type of devotees. Such type of devotees really like to find faults, and that is the symptom of a third-class devotee. A third-class devotee must be envious. There is a quote of Srila Prabhupada, which we can go and see. First of all, the danger of remaining on the canister platform is that it's very dangerous. We will be committing offenses against other devotees. If we remain on this platform, then we are not protected if we do not associate with more advanced devotees. So here's a quote. Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, Chapter 3, Text 24. Prabhupada says, the neophytes, due to their being in the lowered stage of devotional service, are invariably envious. Invariably. So much so that they invent their own ways and means of devotional regulations without following the acharyas. As such, even if they make a show of constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord, they cannot relish the transcendental tastes of the holy name. Therefore, the show of tears in the eyes, trembling, perspiration, or unconsciousness, etc., is condemned. They can, however, get in touch with the pure devotee of the Lord and rectify their bad habits. Otherwise, they shall continue to be stone-hearted and unfit for any treatment. A complete progressive march on the return path home back to Godhead will depend on the instructions of the revealed scriptures directed by a realized devotee. So unless such neophyte devotees come in touch with advanced devotees who can guide them, unless they take guidance from a senior devotee who will act as Shiksha Guru, such devotee will not be able to make any tangible advancement. So, his website, he finds fault, he finds fault with ISKCON Bangalore, he finds fault with many other devotees. Basically, everybody has got some fault except himself. And I did not want to tolerate such offense to His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu, who's pushing the movement so hard. Nobody can be said to be preaching just like Sundar Gopal Prabhu, because he has introduced this means of preaching, which is that we quote, we show verses when he gives classes, there's always a screen there and he shows verses. So everything is upheld by scriptures and by Srila Prabhupada's teachings. So this is very much what Srila Prabhupada wanted, and that is the proof that he's being empowered. But devotees like Dhananjaya do not recognize the importance of preachers like this, like His Grace Srila Gopal Prabhu. Here is Srimad Bhagavatam 11 Canto, Chapter 2, Text 47. A devotee who faithfully engages in the worship of the deity in the temple, but does not behave properly toward other devotees or people in general, is called a prakriti bhakta, a materialistic devotee, and is considered to be in the lowest position. So there's a purport by Madhavacharya here. Shri Madhavacharya states, Archayam eva samstitam, Vishnu gyadva tadan nyatra naiva janati yah bhuman. A Kanishta Adhikari has no idea that the Supreme Lord has the power to exist outside a church or temple. Furthermore, being puffed up by his own ceremonial worship, Atmano Bhakti Darpanaha. A Kanishta Adhikari cannot imagine that anyone is more pious or religious than he, and he is not even aware that other devotees are more advanced. Thus, he cannot understand the Madhyam or Uttama standard of devotional service, and sometimes, because of his false pride, he criticizes the more advanced devotees of the Lord, neglects them, or simply has no understanding of their exalted position as preachers or completely self-realized souls. This is exactly the position of Bhakta David, because he thinks that he understands Prabhupada better than everybody else. That is his mistake. That is because he is a Prakriti Bhakta. He is performing alloyed devotional service. He is mixed up. So, he cannot understand the importance of a devotee like His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu and the devotional standard that Sundar Gopal Prabhu is introducing. Sundar Gopal Prabhu has been preaching for more than 40 plus years, 45 years. His sadhana is very, very strict, and he knows so many scriptures, the philosophy he understands. And he's guiding, many devotees. He has trained up, just like His Grace Tadvavid Prabhu. A very, very wonderful preacher. He's giving online classes. His classes are between 2 and 3 hours each. He's been giving, hundreds of classes for about a year now. Who trained him up? His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu. We have other great preachers also. Vrajakishore Prabhu also was trained by His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu, and he's pushing the movement in Philippines. He also preaches in the same way. He shows Sastra, you see. So my doing this video pointing out the deficiency of Bhakta David's devotional service was not based on envy or mundane anger. It was proper. As you can see in this verse from CC Adi Lila, chapter 7, text 51, the Mayavadi sannyasis are all criticizing your holiness. We cannot tolerate hearing such criticism, for this blasphemy breaks our hearts. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada states, however, even if one is an Uttama Bhagavata status, he must come down to the second status of life, Madhyama Adhikari, to be a preacher, for a preacher should not tolerate blasphemy against another Vaishnava. So this Bhakta David was blaspheming against Sundar Gopal Prabhu, therefore I had to make this video. It was proper, and in fact it pleased many devotees. Some devotees got upset, but I do not care, because I know these devotees to be envious. Their heart are filled with envy towards His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu. I do not care to please the envious. I am not starting this YouTube channel to please the envious. I am here to please those who are sincerely trying to advance spiritually. I do not care for the envious. Here, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 74. A Prakrita or materialistic devotee does not purposefully study the Shastra and try to understand the actual standard of pure devotional service. So pure devotional service is above Karma Yoga and above Jnana Yoga. There's no more speculation that maybe like this, maybe like that. Prabhupada meant this, Prabhupada maybe meant like that. No. And there's no more mixture of fruitive activities. Consequently, he does not show proper respect to advanced devotees. He may, however, follow the regulative principles learned from his spiritual master or from his family who worships the deity. He is not he is to be considered on the material platform, although he is trying to advance in devotional service. Such a person is a Bhakta Praya, neophyte devotee, or Bhakta Abhasa, for he is a little enlightened by Vaishnava philosophy. So the danger of the Kanishta Adhikari platform, if one is not engaged in preaching, the danger of remaining on this platform is that we might commit offense and then fall down. If we do not associate with more advanced devotees, we will fall down. This is a fact. Okay, so let us now continue with this letter. So, this is the quote. This is one of the quotes that I put in that original message that I made to Bhakta David. So here it is. So Harikesh says, sometimes we have the experience of someone in authority who is obviously not following instructions. So Prabhupada says, Sometimes we have the experience someone in authority who is obviously not following instructions. Prabhupada, that you have not to judge. You are not to judge. You should know that this man is appointed as a representative of my spiritual master. I must follow him. You cannot judge. Devotee, Then Prabhupada, that is not your business to judge. Then we simply wait for further instruction from you and keep no further instructions. So long he is president, you must follow him. If he is wrong, that will be corrected by the spiritual master. I see. You cannot correct him. Otherwise, obedience is the first discipline. If you do not obey the representative authority, then there cannot be any discipline. Then everything will be topsy-turvy. You would rather have us follow the temple president? Yes. Then if he's wrong, that cannot. He will come out. So the steps will be taken by the spiritual master. You cannot. Do not try to rectify. So you see, do not try to rectify. So another thing, I think this quote is not complete. Another place also it was said, Prabhupada said that you should know that this man gets there by spiritual advancement. So I quoted that to show that His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu is where he is now because of spiritual advancement. Because he's a bona fide representative of Srila Prabhupada, and therefore Krishna has empowered him to be at the head of an international movement preaching the bona fide original movement, ISKCON as it is. So by quoting that, I said that I wanted to point out that this Bhakta David is finding fault with His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu. He should not do that because Prabhupada here is clearly saying this man is appointed, and if he is actually not following, if he's deviating, then the spiritual master will be rectifying. So then Prabhu's question here, this devotee who sent me, he said, so according to this quote, how can we judge the authority of the GBC and try to correct them even if we think they are not following Srila Prabhupada? Okay, so it's a good question because I'm saying don't find fault with His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu. I'm quoting this. But then what about us, devotees who follow the Ritvik system of initiation? How can we find fault with the GBC and the temple presidents and ISKCON? The same thing. Prabhupada said, no. Don't find fault with them. They are appointed. Okay. Guru, Sastra, Sadhu. Everything we do in devotional life, we must triple check with these three things. Guru, Sastra, Sadhu. So just now, this conversation we saw, one devotee was thinking, okay, I see, this devotee is deviating, right? But Prabhupada double check. No, you don't find fault with him. He's appointed by your guru, meaning Prabhupada. So Prabhupada checked the mistake right away. Okay, so the devotee thought, all right, this person is deviated, but no, Prabhupada came in and no, he's not deviating. You keep following him. He's the authority. You follow him. So it was checked by Prabhupada. So to know who is guru, we have to check with sadhu and with shastra. To know who is sadhu, we have to check with guru and with shastra. And to know shastra, we have to check with guru and with sadhu. So the three of them have to be checked by the other two items. So now he wanted to check the sadhu, the temple president. Is he sadhu? Okay. So Guru is saying yes, he's sadhu. And again in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that even if one commits the most, Krishna says, even if one commits the most abominable of all action, he should still be considered saintly because he's properly situated. So, even though we see a devotee who might, wobble in his devotional standard, because he's properly situated, we should still not find fault in him. So Guru, Prabhupada has said, and Shastra is saying here. Now, ISKCON, they claim to be Guru, right? So we should also double check with Shastra and with Sadhus. Sadhu is the one who follows Shastra. Okay? So just like this devotee, he wanted to check Sadhu, the temple president, and he got double checked it by Prabhupada. Similarly, we can do the same thing. We have to check these devotees in ISKCON, these leaders, see if they're following Srila Prabhupada's instruction, if they're following Shastra, and if the devotees, the bona fide devotees following Srila Prabhupada, accept them as Sadhu. So we can see that there are many devotees in ISKCON that say, yes, all these devotees are, these ISKCON gurus, they're pure devotees, or some of them are pure devotees. But this is not the only opinion. We are of the opinion that they are not pure devotees. In fact, it is not an opinion. We are simply repeating what Srila Prabhupada is saying and what Shastra is saying. So how to know? How do we know, first of all? You see? So of course, this we have done many videos on that. We have Ridvik, a bona fide system. The link will be in the description of this video on YouTube. Shriman Tadvavidas Brahmachari has done a series, a Ridvik series, webinar series, in total of 15 hours, covering every single angles. If you're very serious about studying the matter, about the Ridvik system, you can go watch this series. We will also put the link in the description. Okay? So, it is clear that Srila Prabhupada has not given them the order to become guru. This we have covered this. I don't want to be going at length in this. This will take a long time, but we have many other videos that cover this. We also have our IA 77 paper, Initiation After 1977. So this also should be read. This also will be in the description, in the YouTube description link. So we double check with Prabhupada also. And it is said that someone who disobeys the order of the spiritual master immediately becomes useless. So how can someone useless be accepted? So Prabhupada says, surrender by intelligence. Do not surrender your intelligence. You see, so it is not that anybody comes and say, I'm follower of Prabhupada, you must follow me, whatever I say. No, we should also double check, because there's some controversy. You see, there's controversy is there, but we should not be blind to this controversy. Otherwise, we will be cheated. How we will be cheated? First, before we see this verse, let us see. There's controversy in ISKCON, and you see, controversy is there. Ridvik, ISKCON devotees. So, here, Adi Lila, chapter 2, text 117. A sincere student should not neglect the discussion of such conclusions, considering them controversial. For such discussions strengthen the mind. Thus, one's mind becomes attached to Shri Krishna. So, there is controversy. Ridvik, ISKCON gurus, that is controversial. But we should not say, no, I don't want, this is all politics, I don't want to know all these things. If you do this, what happens? Look in the purport. If, because of laziness, one does not come to know Krishna conclusively, one will be misguided about the cult of devotion. Knowing Krishna means knowing his devotees also. Krishna doesn't mean alone. Krishna means with his devotees. So to know who is a bona fide devotee, that should be also a matter of our research work. So, therefore, we must study this matter. Now, here, Adi Lila, chapter 12, text 8. At first, all the followers of Advaita Acharya shared a single opinion, but later they followed two different opinions as ordained by Providence. In the purport, this is very important because this is a proxy of what happened later on in ISKCON. Here, the word Daivera Karanya indicate that by dint of providence or by God's will, the followers of Advaita Acharya divided into two parties. Such disagreement among the disciples of one Acharya is found among the members of the Gaudiya Mat. In the beginning, during the presence of Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivakacharya Shtotara Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, all the disciples worked in agreement. But just after his disappearance, they disagreed. Just after. It didn't take 1 year. Just after. Just like Srila Prabhupada. Just after he disappeared also. One party strictly followed the instructions of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but another group created their own concoction about executing his desires. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, at the time of his departure, requested all his disciples to form a governing body and conduct missionary activities cooperatively. He did not instruct a particular man to become the next Acharya, but just after his passing away, his leading secretaries made plans without authority to occupy the post of Acharya. Exactly the same thing that happened in ISKCON. As soon as Prabhupada left, without any authorization, there's no paper, there's no statement, there's nothing that Srila Prabhupada has said, you can become Guru. In fact, on May 28, he said, when I order you to become Guru, you become Guru. When I order you, that order never came in. In fact, at May 28, he said, yes, when I leave, after this is settled up, I will appoint Ritvik representative to carry on the initiation when I'm have left the body. First and second initiation. That is the replied. He replied to that question. And he gave the July 9th letter. So that is the continuity. So this is the proof. But somehow or other, these people, they cannot see. They are blindfolded. So then, okay. And they split into two factions over who the next Acharya would be. Consequently, both factions were asara, or useless, because they had no authority, having disobeyed the order of the spiritual master. Asara. So Srila Prabhupada has condemned the whole Gaudiya Math as asara, useless. That is heavy, no? Gaudiya Math. How many hundreds, thousands of devotees they have? Are they all useless? Yes, all useless. All of them. Why? Because they have disobeyed Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So the followers of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati have disobeyed. So how can the followers of someone who has disobeyed be useful? So another thing is that all those ISKCON so-called leaders, as soon as Prabhupada left, they started to go to Narayan Maharaj. Why? Prabhupada says that all of the Gaudiya Math, both of the parties, because some said we need to have, an Acharya here, and sub left the Gaudiya Math and started the... So both camps are useless. Prabhupada says they're all useless here. So by seeing what happened with Gaudiya Math, and by learning from Srila Prabhupada's instructions here in the purport, and by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have Guru Sastra and Sadhu. Everything is there. We can check if these ISKCON gurus are bona fide. We're checking. And asara, useless. They cannot bring you back to Krishna. That is not possible. There is no devotees in ISKCON, if he's getting initiated by one of those ISKCON guru, that can go back to Krishna in this life. It is not possible. If it was my own personal opinion, in fact, before I started to study more seriously, I was thinking that ISKCON is also okay, they also will go back to Krishna. And I was thinking like that. I was thinking, how is it possible that they cannot go back in this life? Why? They're chanting Hare Krishna. This was my own mental speculation. But after studying, it is a fact. Prabhupada says asara, useless. Next verse. Some of the disciples strictly accepted the orders of the Acharya, and others deviated, independently concocting their own opinions under the spell of Daivi Maya. If someone is controlled by Daivi Maya, how can he bring you back to Krishna? It is the complete opposite way. So this verse describes the beginning of a schism. When disciples do not stick to the principle of accepting the order of their spiritual master, immediately there are two opinions. Any opinion different from the opinion of the spiritual master is useless. One cannot infiltrate materially concocted ideas into spiritual advancement, just like this voting in a guru. Have you ever seen this in the Gaudiya Math history? Did Brahma get elected of course Brahma was the first one, but all the other acharyas, did you ever heard of this? Oh, Madhavacharya, how did he become acharya? Yeah, they had a gathering, and then they voted, some were holding the blue paper, some the red paper, and then they said, okay, Madhava, you're an acharya now. Have you ever, they criticize us. They say, oh, the Ritvik system is not seen in the parampara. Okay, but what about your 2/3 vote by conditioned souls? There's no GBC that is a liberated personality. So you're voting, you're a conditioned soul, and you're electing a guru, and we have to accept this as a guru. And plus, they say we cannot vouch for the devotional standard of the guru. It's in the ISKCON so-called laws, It's all bogus. Here, 12.10. The order of the spiritual master is the active principle in spiritual life. Anyone who disobeys the order of the spiritual master immediately becomes useless. So everybody that wants to know about that must read Srila Prabhupada books. Actually, the fact, forget about Ritvik, forget about ISKCON, forget about that. Devotees, there are 3 classes. Kanishtadikari, Madhyamadikari, Uttamadikari. Don't speak Ritvik or this, because there are many nonsense Ritvik devotees also. They say we accept the Ritvik system of initiation without actually implementing it. They wait for the GBC to approve it, and they sit down in London. What do they do there? Nothing. They simply have a magazine and the same thing. Finding fault. This guru did that. This guru did this. This guru did that. Only negative. No positive preaching. And because other so-called Ritvik devotees read this kind of fly-licking magazine, they also develop a habit like this Bhakta David of finding faults. So don't read this kind of magazine, back to Prabhupada magazine. He has no idea how to go back to Prabhupada, this man. No idea. He doesn't know how to please Srila Prabhupada. And the fact is that he's useless in doing anything. He cannot push a movement. He cannot make devotees. He cannot do even a Sunday feast. One little temple, one little center he cannot open. Nothing. And still, he wants to be the Acharya of the Ritviks. So now this trend of saying, I'm Ritvik, I'm independent, I also have my own concocted idea on how to preach. No. Follow the advanced devotees. Follow the devotee who is showing some true result. You might be posing that Prabhupada's desire, show me by practical example. Where is your temple? Are you even doing Mangalarti? Are you even having deities installed? Are you following the Archana Vidhi? Doing deity worship every day? Are you doing this? Are you training some devotees? Are you preaching? Are you building a community of devotees? Are you encouraging others? Are you bringing devotees to Srila Prabhupada to take shelter, to take initiation? You're not doing any of these things. Still, we have to listen to you. Because on Facebook, you type so many comments. I comment on everybody. I comment. Here's my comment. I comment on you. So this whole thing, forget about the word Ritvik devotees. It's not like this. It's not the Ritviks are good. ISKCON is bad. This is that. Of course, the ISKCON that we see now, with all those cheetahs there, But there are some devotees who are sincere in ISKCON, and they will wake up. They are the ones who will wake up. If they are truly sincere, they will see one day. They will see that, I've been cheated. These men are not pure devotees. They are taking the position of a Mahabhagavata. They cannot bring me back to Krishna. I don't want any part of this. I disassociate myself from them. These are the sincere devotees. And they will come to us. And they will make tangible advancement here with us in ISKM. So, this is it, you see. So there's 3 classes of devotee: Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttama. The Kanishta Adhikari, unless he associates with the Madhyam Adhikari, he will not make any tangible advancement. And the Madhyam Adhikari, unless he associates with the Uttama Adhikari, also he will not attain the Uttama platform. That is there. I've read recently. I forgot where it is. So this is why we cannot quote this quote concerning the GBC, concerning the ISKCON gurus. They want to keep us blind. Don't read Srila Prabhupada's books, please. Don't listen to my chit-chat when I give classes. Chit-chat. They tell you stories, We have to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have to get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, Srimati Radharani. This is all they talk, some sentimental nonsense. They don't show you Sastra. So how you know if you're being cheated or not? So this is it. So we should not become lazy and accept something without having double checked. We check Guru with Sadhu and Sastra, we check Sastra with Guru and Sadhu, and we check Sadhu with Guru and Sastra in this way. Let us finish with this. CC Madhya chapter 1 text 220 purport. Unfortunately, in this age of Kali, there are many mundane persons in the dress of Vaishnavas, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has described them as disciples of Kali. He says Kali Chala. He indicates that there is another Vaishnava, a pseudo-Vaishnava with tilak on his nose and kanti beads around his neck. Such a pseudo-Vaishnava associates with money and women and is jealous of successful Vaishnavas. Although passing for a Vaishnava, his only business is earning money in the dress of a Vaishnava. Bhaktivinoda Thakur therefore says that such a pseudo-Vaishnava is not a Vaishnava at all, but a disciple of Kali Yoga. $60 million is missing from ISKCON Vrindavan, or I believe ISKCON Vrindavan funds. Fundraising, $60 million is missing. I believe this money was supposed to go to the Vedic Planetarium, the TOVP. Now Ambarish Prabhu is trying to find out who did that. I personally know a devotee, which I will not name, who was appointed to try to find where the money went. When he started to get too close to who took the money, he got beaten. I saw the pictures. They almost killed him. He was bruised everywhere. They beat him up because they're trying to keep that money. Where did that money go? $60 million. There are demons in ISKCON at the moment. There are gangsters. There is killing happening. There is raping happening. Very dark things are happening in ISKCON. If you want to remain there, you are going to have so much trouble in your spiritual life. That is for sure. But if you come with us, we are showing by Sastra. You can double check. You read Prabhupada. The ground foundation is Prabhupada. You go with Prabhupada, you're 100% sure. But if you lack faith in Srila Prabhupada, then nobody can help you. Okay, thank you very much. That's it for this video. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.